Trump tariffs is going to affect everybody. Even if you're not involved inside the stock market, it's still going to affect you. They say it's not going to send us into a recession, but it's going to send the world into a recession. So let's take a look at a couple of these videos.
So we are getting some bad news in for gamers. Nintendo announcing this morning that it is delaying the pre-orders of the Nintendo Switch 2 in the United States due to Donald Trump's tariffs. The Nintendo Switch 2 was originally intended to go on pre-sale April 9th. Now it is delayed indefinitely. This is just the latest fallout that we are seeing from Donald Trump's tariffs. The stock markets are in complete freefall. JP Morgan is now predicting a recession. Factories are already beginning to lay people off. And the Fed chair says that the effects of Trump's tariffs will likely be way worse than expected. Other companies are also facing existential crises like Apple, for example. iPhones are likely to go up 43% in price, Apple Watches up 43% in price, iPads up 42% in price, AirPods up 39% in price, Macs up 39% in price. Buckle up, folks. It looks like the pain is only beginning, and this is all self-inflicted thanks to Donald Trump. We're going to continue to follow this story and more, so make sure you're following our account and add the Minus Touch podcast right now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We've got a new episode out now.
All right, so yes, the Trump tariffs is going to affect everybody, even if you wasn't involved inside the stock market, or if you're too young to vote and you don't even pay attention to economics at all. These tariffs is going to affect you. Now, I know a lot of people that's inside the gaming community don't even pay attention to the stock market, but now it's going to start to affect you, because now that Trump has put on tariffs on China, Japan, they put a large tariff on them. Nintendo Switch 2 was supposed to be able to pre-order in just a couple of days. Right now, ever since the tariffs came out, Nintendo was like, hey, if you're going to put all these tariffs on us, we won't let Americans pre-order the Nintendo Switch at all, because they delayed the pre-order indefinitely. That means they don't know when the pre-order is coming out. So what if it comes, like the Nintendo Switch supposed to comes out in the summertime, is not available to the US market. Now people are really going to start to get upset. Kids are going to start to get upset. Why these tariffs are being placed on us? Now the kids going to start paying attention to the politics. And more importantly, the iPhone, right? Your iPhone is usually $999, maybe $1,200. But after the tariffs get put in place, your iPhone that's worth $1,000 is now brand new, going to cost around $2,000, $2,300, $2,400 just to get an iPhone Max. So these tariffs being put in place is starting to affect everyone, whether if you inside the stock market. Usually you think, okay, tariffs is going to affect businesses. I don't own a business, I'll be all right. Tariffs is going to affect the stock market. I don't own any stocks, I'm going to be all right. But now the kids that's out there that's getting affected through their games, now they're going to be like, Mom, what's going on? Dad, what's going on? Like, why can't I get this game in America? And you got to sit down and explain to them that we're self-inflicting ourselves. And y'all think that these tariffs is going to bring back all these jobs to America. I'm telling you right now, these tariffs price is just going to get passed on to the consumer. You the consumer. They're not going to pass these prices off to America or help fund our government or anything like that. Those prices is going to get passed on to you, making everything in the United States more expensive, because they already showed that the Nintendo Switch games is already going to be $80. For Mario Kart, $80 for Donkey Kong, $80 video game. I remember when video games used to be $40. Then we went crazy when they went up to $50. Now they're about to be $80 per game due to inflation and tariffs.
China placed 34% tariffs on the U.S. as the U.S. stock market crashed.
What happened?
Trump gave China 34% increased tariffs, so China did the same to the U.S. and the Dow Jones fell 2,200 points today alone. Additionally, China added 11 U.S. bodies to the unreliable list. And the U.S. was China's biggest trade partner, but is now in a trade war with the world. And the NASDAQ and S&P fell 6% again today alone, which is the worst it fell since COVID.
So what are we going to do about it?
Trump posted a social media that China panicked. They played it wrong and that this is the one thing they can't afford to do. However, China is working with Japan and South Korea to fight the U.S. Good luck, they're gonna need it!
If there was one country versus 180 in the war, who do you think would win?
Trump said we'll just have to suffer for another 2 years and then we'll have the best economy ever! He then posted on social media that Warren Buffett said Trump is making the greatest economic moves he's seen in over 50 years! How can you deny that?
Warren Buffett said himself he never said that, and it's a false endorsement. He actually said tariffs are a war on the consumer.
It's too late! Global Trade War 2025! It's the entire running of the barrack.
So yeah, that's how I'm confused. How you go into a trade war with your biggest importer, exporter, China? How do you put, oh my goodness. Let me know down in the comment section. While you're down there, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, because it helps out this channel more than you guys can possibly even imagine. But how do you go into a trade war with your biggest exporter, importer? I'm so confused on why he's doing that. In fact, and then he go around the back line on people talking about Warren Buffett said you're making some incredible moves. When Warren Buffett, he never said that, because he know that these tariff prices is going to get passed on to the consumers. If you guys are confused, the consumers are me and you. We're going to be paying those prices. In fact, I was ordering some Savage S Fenty. Don't ask me why. From my wife. So Savage S Fenty getting ordered, right? And on the receipt right before you check out, there is a tariff tax that I'm paying just to get those products delivered to my house. So it's straight up saying you are paying a tariff tax. Savage X Fenty isn't paying that tax. I'm paying that tax, right? So they're already showing that they're going to pass this straight on over to the consumer. These companies not going to eat that at all. Do you think it's going to hurt these companies? Which it is going to hurt the companies, because they got to raise their price. And when they raise the price, they're going to sell less products. It's definitely going to hurt the companies, but it's going to hurt us more than the consumers, more than any other business there is out there. Now, one slick thing about this, I can't say this. One slick thing about this is that if you have not started to invest inside the stock market, you might not see amazing prices like this for long. So if you ever want to get started, you guys need to dive in and do a quick education for yourself so that you could study the market, because if the prices keep pulling back, you will see some amazing prices to get in on Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Facebook. You could get in on some amazing prices. Let's say if I was buying shares of Apple at $200, right? These tariffs come in place. Just the talk of tariffs driving down the price of Apple, the S&P 500, all these ETFs down 10, 15, 20, 25%. That would be a perfect entry for you to get in. Now, I've been inside the stock market. I've been buying shares up for a long time, and I'm definitely feeling the market pulling back. My account is down on the year alone 24%. Everybody's account is down 24%. Even if you are investing inside ETFs, your account is down. But I'm buying the dip. As the price continues to go down, I'm going to continue to buy the dip because it's just smart. A lot of millionaires are made during recessions, because if you have a lot of cash on hand, and I seen some coming, so I kept on having a lot of cash on hand, waiting for an opportunity like this. So I'm going to go in, buy some of my favorite companies at a discounted price. If you guys want to learn more about that, you can follow me over on the Dream Green Show. That's why I talk about investing. If you guys do want to get started inside the stock market, I'm going to leave a link to Moomoo down in the description. Just from signing up using that platform, you could get up to 60 free stocks. And with those 60 free stocks, you could either keep them inside the platform, decide to use it, or you could sell all of those free stocks and withdraw all of your money. Guys, it's literally free money. Don't miss out on that amazing opportunity. Take another look at some consumers that's actually inside a businessman that actually dealt with tariffs before.
Who pays the tariffs?
The Chinese government pays the tariff.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
I want to say, I'm an importer and an exporter for 20 years.
Okay.
When a product comes into the US, there's something called a tariff sheet.
Okay.
I, as the buyer of that product, follow US law and pay the tariff. I'm an American citizen, an American taxpayer. I pay that tariff to the US government, and that increase in the cost of the product, I then sell to you for a higher price because I've got to cover that tariff.
And what about our tariffs are higher when they go overseas as opposed to theirs coming here?
So tariffs are never a zero-sum game. Tariffs are a tool. So, for example, you might say, you want to sell us your beans, right?
Yeah.
We are going to give you a low tariff if you buy our corn. But the cost of the tariff is ultimately always borne by the consumer.
Don't you think at the end of the day there may be more competition within the market of the U.S. government?
You're confusing the question. This is not a question of competition. The point we're discussing is who bears the cost of the tariff.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you if it's good policy for the U.S. government to tax beans and for the Chinese government to tariff corn. But what I can absolutely assure you is that a product that comes into the U.S. is paid for by a U.S. company, and the increased cost of that is borne by all of us. I am an importer and exporter. I do it for a living.
Okay. Then what's the alternative? If at one point in our history, in our country's history, it was tariffs that paid for our economy.
Tariffs don't pay for your economy.
But they did. We didn't have income taxes.
That was before we had municipal infrastructure.
Correct.
Who pays the tariff?
Yeah, so Buddy gave him the business, right? Because it was a guy off the streets that just, think he knows everything just because he watched a couple of videos. He's trying to compare himself to someone who's actually inside of the business, that actually runs a business, that actually has to pay tariffs, explaining to him exactly how it works. He's telling you it get passed on to the consumer, as we keep saying inside this video. It get passed on to you. And he want to go back and forth with him, but trying to cut him off. He's like, hey man, listen, you asked me a question. I'm not sure if it benefits any other question in any other way, but you asked me, who does it get passed on to? I'm telling you, it get passed on to the consumers. I do it. You're guessing on what happens with tariffs based off some things you probably read off of Instagram or TikTok or anything like that. And you think you did your own research, but you don't even own the business, sir. I own a business. I am a taxpayer, and I'm telling you how it goes. And you keep on talking about, but our economy used to live out. Shut up. You're talking about hundreds of years ago. Today's age and yesterday's age is two completely different ages inside of the U.S. economy. No, our economy is not going to run off of tariffs. We can't tariff enough people that we rely on to run our country. I don't think so. Maybe it could, but I think free trade is probably going to benefit the consumers the most. Probably not the government, probably not businesses, but it's going to benefit definitely 100% the consumers the most if we have free trade. And old buddy was telling him how it go. He just did not want to listen.
The stock market does not lie. If it goes down 1,000 or 1,500 points in one day, it's an economic indicator that people with the knowledge are very worried about what's happening. And that's what happened today.
Stocks on the market and everything else. I don't want to hurt that either, but sometimes you have to give to receive.
I expected it to go down, and expected to go down that drastically.
I pay attention to the tariffs. If they can bring more jobs to American people in the United States, then I think it's great. But I don't want to see it to hurt the people in the United States.
I'm concerned. I mean, over 80 years, we've had trade partners that we trusted, that they trusted us, and we've lost that over the course of 2 months or a month.
I feel nervous for our household budget. With 2 kids, I wonder what our grocery bill is going to be like. I wonder if we can afford to upgrade our car when it breaks.
What overseas is doing to the United States, that's wrong. Whether it's any kind of business, whether it's your business, my business, or anybody's, that's wrong. And hopefully these tariffs, I know what he's trying to do, these tariffs will help the people with businesses, break the business stronger, make the people that's working and everything else, they can come back and make a decent living.
There's never been a aspect of where a tariff is considered good economic policy.
Look at 1929, Great Depression. That's the last time we did across the board massive tariffs was 1929, and there were bread lines. Tariffs have never worked out.
Hey man, I don't want to be standing in a bread line just to feed myself, but buddy, he was trying to be on both sides. He was like, he's understand what Trump's trying to do. He's trying to bring back jobs to America. He's trying to make the American economy stronger by imposing these tariffs, but he do not want to see Americans hurt. And right now, the tariffs is only going to benefit a certain number of the high class, the wealthy class of people, sometimes business owners, not really business owners, but he don't want to see the majority of Americans be hurt. And right now, through these tariffs, the majority of Americans are going to be hurt. And he hates to see that. I hate to see that. He wanted the people to come back and work in America and earn a fair wage compared to working overseas or manufacturing overseas. He wants that all to come back to America and make a decent wage. But in that process of bringing back 1.5 million people to America to manufacture, you're hurting 30 million Americans every single day. So where's the trade-off? Where's the trade-off in that if you're so worried about bringing back jobs to America that you're willing to hurt 30 million, 40 million, 45 million Americans every single day? Where's the trade-off in that? So we're going to see how this goes because we're definitely in it. But with the stock market falling 10%, he said we seen it was going to fall. But for it to fall in a month, literally in a week, is crazy. And then he's putting the tariffs on people that we had trade relationships with for 80 years, 60 years, 75 years. He's putting these restrictions on them, which is going to hurt us in the long run.
Say you got a plug, right? And every time you go to him, it's $20, $20, $20 for an eighth. Then the next time you go to him, he tells you it's $40. And you ask him, you like, yo, what you doing? It's $20. And he like, nah, my plug, he charging me 10%. Like he adding on tax. So now I gotta tax you to make my profit. So now the same bud you been getting, the same amount, is now 40 instead of 20 because of the newly added tax, right? That's basically what the economy's going through right now with the new tariffs and shit. Like, all the imported goods is getting taxed, some more than others. So that means all the stuff that you like to buy that's imported from like China and different areas is gonna get raised because they gotta add money to the final sale so they can make their profit too. You feel me? They're not just gonna eat the tariffs and just sell the shit at the same price. They gotta raise their prices because it's costing more to bring it in.
Now, China is one of the world leading exporters when it comes to rare metals and stuff like that. So, oh man, guys, if you think it's going to get worse, you need to go ahead and load up on rice before it gets super expensive. Load up on your toilet paper, load up on all your essential items, water, just load up on it. Even if you don't need it, load up on it because it could get worse. It might get worse for the next 2 years before it gets better. But guys, you need to go ahead and load up. I know I'm about to load up on some canned goods, some meat, my deep freezer box. I'm about to stack all that up because if these tariffs, once they go into place, some of them already into place, but once those pricing start to get passed on to us, you're going to really wish you would have loaded up on your consumer goods before all these price increases got imposed on your products that you buy every day.
Here's how Donald Trump's sweeping new tariffs are going to affect you. Starting April 5th, a 10% tariff will be added to nearly all imports from other countries to the US, with some products facing tariffs of up to 50%. This means higher prices on everyday items like clothes, produce, and especially cars. For example, clothes from countries like Bangladesh, Indonesia, and China could cost 30 to 40% more. And not only will a new car cost an additional $3,000 to $12,000, but the part to fix your current car could cost thousands more. Daily Mail consumer reporter Ben Shimkus broke it down for us.
Every source I've spoken to has unanimously said companies will pass off costs from tariffs to consumers. And cars are really the hardest hit, even if you're already driving a cheap vehicle. The president set a staggering 25% tariff on all imported cars and parts, meaning repair costs and insurance premiums will skyrocket. We are already starting to see some economic impacts too. Automaker stocks are struggling today, and the third largest American car maker, Stellantis, already laid off 900 workers in response to the tariffs.
While Trump claims these tariffs will boost American industries, many economists warn they could increase inflation, slow economic growth, and lead to a recession.
I definitely see a recession in our future, but with the car prices, just imagine your Honda is going to cost more than a Cadillac. Your $3,000 Honda is now going to be $4,500. Your $65,000 Audi is going to be $80,000 for that same Audi. So you're just like, hey, I'm just going to buy Ford. I'm going to buy a Ford F-150 for $35K, and just whatever repairs I have on that is the repairs I have on that. But now that you want to go cheaper, buy Ford, American-made car. You got a $3,500 vehicle, but if anything breaks down on that, there's also a 25% tariff on imported parts, which it comes from overseas. So now it's going to cost you, other than $500 to fix your transmission, it's going to cost you $2,000 to fix your transmission. If you get inside a fender bender for you to replace a whole side panel on your car, that's going to run you $3,000-$4,000. If you need some new tires, some new wheels, they're taxing all of those imports. So now it's going to be super expensive, even more expensive to buy and own a car. Any goods out there is going to, Buddy said that he talked to many different people and that all these tariffs costs is going to get passed on to the consumers. Let me know down in the comment section, how do you guys feel about tariffs? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think it's going to help the economy in the long run, to where we bring back jobs? It helps support the economy, American economy. It helps supports the government, and everything is filed. I mean, all of our governments ran through the tariffs that we put on these other countries that we had trade relationships with for 65, 75, 80 years. And then eventually we don't have to pay any income tax on that at all, even though, we still, I mean, they're gonna tax us in tariffs in return, just like China was like, hey, we're gonna put 34% tariffs on you. So it's a fair trade, but that's gonna get passed on to our consumers and our citizens. So we're just at a war that's hurting our citizens. Well, let me know down in the comment section, which do you think tariffs is going to be a good thing or a bad thing, or if you do think that we're heading into a recession. And if we are heading into a recession, you need to start doing some research on how can you come out on top after the recession starts, because once the recession starts, that's when I'm going to implement my plan, and I promise you I should come. This is going to be hard. It's going to be hard, and I'm going to see my account do some big swings, but I plan to come out on top after this recession. So let me know down in the comment section, what is your plans, what is your goal. If you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, because that helps out this channel more than you guys can possibly even imagine. But in that, guys, I'm Zeke, bringing you Dream Green Conversations, and I'm out. Peace.